Welcome to the D-Dam Mix channel. We invite you to watch our new story. To stay up to date with new stories, subscribe to our channel. On our 5th wedding anniversary, I caught my husband cheating on me with my assistant. He later forced me to sign over my company to him during our divorce, and I did it without flinching. He thought he'd won. But what didn't he know? He was walking right into the trap I'd already set. Morning light streamed through our bedroom windows as I buttoned my blouse and watched Ethan tie his tie in the mirror. Even after 5 years of marriage, the sight of him still made my heart flutter. "Happy anniversary, baby," I said, wrapping my arms around his waist from behind. "I can't believe it's already been 5 years. He patted my hand absently. "Time flies when you're building an empire." I pressed my cheek against his back. "I thought we could close the office early today. We'll have a proper celebration tonight, you know." "I can't," he said, checking his watch. "I have a big client coming. Maybe on the weekend?" A familiar sting of disappointment washed over me, but I pushed it aside. "Of course. This weekend." I stepped back, straightening my skirt. "Then I'll head to the office a little later. I want to have time to make the cupcakes." Ethan turned and finally looked at me. "That's my girl. Always thinking ahead." He kissed my forehead and then grabbed his briefcase. "Don't wait for me tonight. Dinner with a client." Another dinner with a client? This was already the 4th this week. "Okay," I said, forcing a smile. "Good luck." After he left, I stood alone in our bedroom, surrounded by the trappings of success we'd created together: designer furniture, art we couldn't afford 3 years ago, and the view of downtown from our penthouse windows. It all stemmed from Wildflower Boutique, my small online store that had grown into a multi-million-dollar business. My phone buzzed with a message from my assistant Megan. "I'm late. Traffic." "Sorry." I sent a reply, "No problem. Take your time." I decided to surprise Ethan with coffee anyway. Maybe I'll be able to steal 5 minutes of his time on our anniversary, in our office. Surprise him, I whispered to myself. What an idea. I had no idea that I would be the one who would be surprised. The office was quiet when I arrived. It was still too early for most of the staff. I balanced 2 coffees and a bag of pastries as I headed down the hallway to Ethan's corner office. The first sound I heard was a woman's laughter, breathy and intimate. A sound that had no place in a professional setting. Such a familiar sound. My steps slowed as I approached the glass wall of his office. The blinds were partially open, just enough for me to see everything. Megan wasn't stuck in traffic. She was sitting on my husband's desk, her skirt hiked up, his hands where they shouldn't be, her fingers tangled in his hair as he kissed her neck. The coffee cup slipped from my hands, splashing hot liquid across my legs. But I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. They didn't hear or see me. I stepped back silently, my mind eerily calm, registering details as if taking inventory: her red lipstick on his collar, his wedding ring sparkling under the office lights, and the family photo on his desk, face down. How convenient. How neat. I left the building, got into my car, and sat there for almost an hour, not looking at anything. Then I picked up my phone and called the first person on my contact list. "Jack. This is Chloe. Are you still practicing family law?" "Chloe? Yeah, I'm working on it. Is everything okay?" "No. But it will happen. I need a divorce lawyer, and I need a business strategy. Can you meet today?" "Let me check my schedule." "At my office in an hour?" "Great. And Jack?" "Thanks." I hung up and started the car. The numbness gradually faded, giving way to something else, something solid, clear, and purposeful. If Ethan wants to play games, he'll find out I'm a much better strategist than he ever gave me credit for. "The game is on," I whispered. "What did he want?" Jack leaned back in his chair, raising his eyebrows as I told him everything. I took a sip of water, letting the ice jingle. The whole company. He asked to be listed as a co-owner when I first launched Wildflower. Jack shook his head. But you founded Wildflower. You built it from nothing. Yes. But 2 years ago, I let him talk me into changing the documents and making him a co-owner through investor relations. Now his name is on all the documents. So what do you want to do? Jack asked, putting his pen to the notepad. I want to give him exactly what he wants. I took out the folder and put it on the table. 3 months ago, even before I suspected him of cheating, I noticed some inconsistencies in his behavior. So I started preparing a backup plan. Jack opened the folder and scanned the registration documents of the new company I was planning to secretly open. Have you already? I didn't do anything wrong. I was just ready. I'd had this feeling for months, late nights at client dinners and the messages he'd hide the moment I walked in. But the truth hit me after our 5-year anniversary today. And now it's time to put my plan into action. Jack studied me for a long moment. He really has no idea who he's dealing with, does he? No. But he will find out soon. That evening, I placed a manila envelope on the kitchen table. These are the divorce papers. I've already signed my part. I know about you and Megan. Ethan stared at the envelope for a long moment before picking it up. I continued chopping the peppers, then moved on to the onions. How long have you known? Quite a while ago. I saw you in your office, with her. He pulled out the documents and scanned the first page, his eyes narrowing. So you really are doing this? Yes. Because of one mistake. It wasn't one mistake, Ethan. It was 5 years of mistakes. He leafed through the papers, frowning more and more with each page. There's no mention of business here. He looked up. Where's the payment for Wildflower? He put the divorce papers aside, a calculating look crossing his face. I want the business. All of it. Do you need Wildflower? It belongs to me as much as it does to you. Even more so, considering I've been its face for so many years. I carefully put the knife down and reached for my bag, which was sitting on the kitchen chair. Without saying a word, I pulled out another packet of documents and placed it on the counter. What is this? Transfer of ownership. Full rights to the Wildflower Boutique. I pushed the papers toward him. Already drawn up. I thought you wanted this. He paused, thrown off balance by my calm. I expected a fight. I shrugged, transferring the diced peppers to a bowl. Why fight? You've made it clear where your priorities lie. Is this because of Megan? This isn't about Megan. This is about you and me. What we built, and what you destroyed. He stared at me, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. So you're just giving up? That's not like you. I don't give up. I move on. That makes a difference. What? Do you think you can start all over again? We'll see, I replied, returning to my cooking. All the paperwork is in order. You get the company. I get the house. Clean break. Great. I'll have my lawyer look them over. Certainly. Turning to leave the kitchen, he paused. You know, it's better this way. You're too emotional for business anyway. I continued cutting, my knife firmly planted on the board. Goodbye, Ethan. The signing took place in Jack's office a week later. Ethan brought his lawyer, a woman in a sharp suit who kept casting pitying glances at me. If only she knew. Everything seems to be in order, she said after reviewing the documents. Although I must say, this agreement is very beneficial to my client. I know, I replied, taking the pen Jack handed me. I just want to get this over with. Ethan watched my signature with triumph. When all the documents were signed and notarized, he stood up and extended his hand. No hard feelings, Chloe. You've created something special with Wildflower. I'll take good care of it. I have no doubt. As we all left the conference room, Jack's assistant handed Ethan a small gift box. "What is this?" he asked. "Just a parting gift," I said. "For new beginnings." Later, he opens it to find an empty box with a note. "This is what you truly deserve from our marriage. Enjoy." Pettiness? Perhaps. But after 5 years of having my contributions minimized and my intellect undervalued, I felt entitled to one small moment of pettiness. "Goodbye, Ethan," I said and walked away without looking back. 3 months passed, and I started my new job. My new office, a converted warehouse with high ceilings and plenty of natural light, was thriving. Lisa, our production manager, who quit Wildflower the day after I left, popped into my office. "Anderson's order is ready for review." "Just in time," I said, rising from the table. "Is Marcus here yet?" "In conference room B with the whole team." I followed her down the hallway, my heels clicking on the polished concrete floor. Through the glass walls, I could see my team gathered around samples of our latest collection. Marcus, our biggest customer, who had quietly transferred his entire business from Wildflower to my new company, stood up as I walked in. "Chloe. These new models are absolutely incredible. The quality is even better than before." I smiled, running my hand over the fabric swatches. "We've gone back to our original suppliers. Those who believe in craftsmanship, not cutting corners." "Smart move. By the way, did you hear?" "What did you hear?" "Wildflower missed its delivery deadline last week. Rumor has it they're having problems with their suppliers." "Is that so?" "Yes, and that's not all. Rumor has it that the IRS is scrutinizing their books." Lisa caught my eye across the table and suppressed a smile. She handled most of the tax matters at Wildflower, until Ethan decided her services were unnecessary and let her go 2 weeks after taking over. He didn't know that she had left detailed records of all the corners he cut, all the notices he ignored, and all the obligations he neglected while focusing on the glamorous side of the business. What a pity. "So, shall we look at Anderson's collection?" While the meeting was going on, my phone buzzed with a message from Jack. "It's happened. IRS agents at Wildflower this morning." I stepped away for a moment and went out into the hallway to call him. "How bad is it?" 3 years of questionable reporting. Plus, unpaid payroll taxes for the last 6 months. They froze the company's accounts. "And Ethan?" "In complete panic. It seems his problems are catching up with him quickly." "Yeah, I heard most of the staff quit this morning." Jack chuckled. "I thought about the offers I made to Wildflower's top employees last week: better pay, better conditions, and respect for their contributions." "Where will they go?" I asked innocently. Jack laughed. "As if you don't know." I smiled. "I need to get back to the meeting." "Sure." "Oh, and Chloe?" "Megan came into my office today looking for a job." "Oh. And?" "Yes. Apparently, being the girlfriend of a bankrupt boss wasn't as secure a position as she thought." "How tragic," I said dryly. "Thanks for the news, Jack." I returned to the meeting, sinking back into my chair with renewed focus. Around me, my team continued to discuss fabrics, deadlines, and marketing strategies. All the elements that had made Wildflower successful were now focused on creating something new and better. "Is everything okay?" Lisa whispered. I nodded. "Everything is exactly as it should be." 6 months after the divorce, I met Ethan at a coffee shop downtown. The designer suits were gone, replaced by casual clothes that had seen better days. The confident swagger had given way to a tired slouch. He noticed me as I was waiting for my order, hesitated, and then came over with a smile. "Chloe." We stood in awkward silence until the barista called my name. I stepped forward to take my drink and then turned to face him. "How are you?" "It's gotten better," he admitted, rubbing the back of his head. "The business, it's gone. Bankruptcy." "I heard." His eyes narrowed. "I have no doubt." It's funny how everything fell apart right after you left. Really? I took a sip of coffee, not taking my eyes off him. You knew, didn't you? About the tax issues. About the contracts with the suppliers. I've been trying to tell you for years that you're cutting corners, Ethan. You never listened. So this was revenge? For Megan? No. It was a consequence, for taking credit for work you didn't do. For believing you were entitled to success you didn't deserve. He looked at me intently, really looking at me, perhaps for the first time in our entire relationship. You've changed. No, I corrected him. I've always been like this. You just didn't notice. The door to the coffee shop opened and Lisa walked in, waving when she saw me. I have to go, I said. My team is waiting. Your team? Yes, my new company. We're doing pretty well. It turns out I'm not too emotional for business. I walked past him, then stopped. If anything, I'm sorry it ended this way. As I left, joining Lisa at the door, I felt lighter than I had in years. Not because of Ethan's downfall, but because I'd finally stopped diminishing myself to make room for his ego. Was it him? Lisa asked as we stepped outside. Ancient history, I replied, intertwining my hand with hers. Come on. We need to build the future. In the end, I didn't need revenge. Justice did that job for me. And even though Ethan took my business, he never understood that true value lies not in a name, a brand, or an office space. She was inside me, and that was the one thing he could never take away. Never. Write in the comments what you think about this story and subscribe to our channel D-Damn Mix.